hello. So it's the 31st of August and I'm gonna do a video before September starts, which is tomorrow, and my glasses are steaming up, and I think I just need to film it now because I've already had a few false starts. And I read quite a lot in August, so I kind of would just want to spin through it, to be honest. So I am just going to start. So actually, I did a tarot TBR challenge. I think that was a TBR challenge. Yeah, so my TBR challenge, I did another video for. And I will tell you what I managed to read from that, but I think I will do a proper review of all those books when I do them all, because I haven't finished them this month. So in August I read Pages for You by Sylvia Brownrigg. I found out there is a sequel, so this is a duology, so that is great. Duology, yeah. Because I didn't really know what I was going to pick for that one. I feel like duology is quite tricky because a lot of things just end up becoming a trilogy or a longer series. And so this book it's very well written, actually. It's a very well written book, but it is about a student-teacher relationship. It's a lesbian relationship. It doesn't mean it's not unproblematic. It is a bit questionable, and the sequel I think is just going to be them reuniting. I don't know what's going to happen, but it was very well written. It just, I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like that storyline at all, but you know, that was one. I'm wondering if the sequel, I just don't know. I think it's more recent, so maybe it'll be a bit more kind of up to date with that kind of thing. I think I did give it 4.25 stars. There's me trying to learn how to use a 2.5. Because yeah, it was very well written, but I couldn't give it 5 stars because that's not it for me. I'm already talking too much about this book. I read Elephant and Other Stories by Raymond Carver. That was one of the tarot TBR books. Short answer, it was a lot of short stories about bad men being bad husbands or bad fathers. And it was well written, but it wasn't exciting, and I didn't love the writing. I'm not inspired to read anything else by him really. I think he's done poetry, so I would be interested in that. I think he's just one of them classic authors where at the time it was very great to hear more stories about actual working class people. But yeah, I don't know. I read it, it's done. Then I read The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang, and that is my teal book because the cover is teal blue. This was a borrow from the library. I didn't really like it. Oh my god, I gave it 1.5 stars. That is low. I just didn't really like the characters, and I didn't really like the story, and I just didn't really think it was that well written. I don't think. It's probably a me problem, but yeah, it just wasn't really my vibe. My cat is very sad about it, as you can hear. So then I read Cat and Gamer, which is a graphic novel about a girl who kind of adopts a cat by accident, kind of. But it was cute and nice, and it's a whole series. It's by Wataru Nadatani, and I got it from the library, and I was like, brilliant, cat on the cover, ideal. Then I read Stumbling Through Space and Time, Living Life with Dyspraxia by Rosemary Richings. This was a really great book. It wasn't very long. Stop it. it wasn't a very long book. I think my main thing about this book was that it probably could have been longer. It's very much like a personal memoir of having dyspraxia, and I think I just wanted to learn more, and maybe I just need to get like a factual book about it, because she didn't cover all the things I kind of wanted to hear about, I don't think. Now he's saying he needs food. Okay, so then I read Sensory Life on the Spectrum, which was a really nice comic anthology of like short comics of people's experiences of having sensory issues and being autistic. Really enjoyed that one. That and the dyspraxia one I've put down for disability rep. So I also then read Where Trust Leads Us by Katie Trapp. That was a book on Kindle Unlimited, and it's yellow, and I just wanted a romance that was queer, and also it had a plus size main character. It wasn't like absolutely out of this world, but I really, I had a nice time. I liked things about it, so that was good, and that was a yellow cover, so I've put that down as Even Bigger Rainbow. I listened to the audiobook of Songs for Other People's Weddings by David Levithan. I actually don't even know how to say his surname. Levithan. I'm not sure if that's correct. And it was the audiobook version, which meant there were songs by Jens Lekman on there, and I love him. It was kind of partly why I picked it, and then I remembered that like everything I've read by David Levithan I've really enjoyed anyway, so it was kind of like, yeah, definitely. And that was the new release for August. It was an early ARC audiobook. Felt very cool being able to listen to that. I listened to it sped up, but then I'd have to stop when the music songs came on, otherwise it would be weird. I've seen some issues with it with people have had where they like don't like the main character, and I'm like kind of like don't really care about the main character. Like he is like the main character, but it's more about him going to different people's weddings and meeting all these different couples that are getting married and hearing about their story and then writing songs, and like his storyline is like, I don't know, it is almost secondary in some ways. Like, I don't know, I enjoyed it. I think I give it 4 stars, but I probably wouldn't read it again, and I don't know if I'd have enjoyed it as much if it wasn't audio, because the songs did make it seem more fun and cool and interesting. Really like Jens Lekman, all his music is fucking great, so recommend it. Then I got an arc of The Joy of Snacking by Hilary Fitzgerald Campbell. I didn't realise this is the is this the New York Times comic person? She's very like notable, and it was a memoir about food and her relationship with food, and I really enjoyed it. It was well written. I liked the art, and the only thing I could fit this in with was make a quote, and I have committed to a very long quote, which is probably a mistake. Then I finished the Blue Mountain Ranch Thingamy-Bob series by Lila Sage. I read Wild and Wrangled. It was on Kindle Unlimited. I think I got a month free trial of Kindle Unlimited, so I just read a few books from that, and this was one of the ones I was wanting to read. It was 360 pages, so I put that in by the hundreds. Then I did my 24-hour reading challenge, so I will not talk about those books, but you can watch the video because I actually had such a great time doing that. I was really scared about doing that challenge. I just didn't know if I had it in me to read 3 books in one day, or like over 450 pages, but I did manage to do it, and I read 4 books, and I really enjoyed like most of them, and I liked all of them, so that was great. And so I completed the 24-hour readathon. Woo! And then I read Fawn Over Me by B.L. Brown. Now this was my secret prompt book because it is a pun. And it was also a spooky creatures book because it is about a cryptid, I believe. I am happy to be corrected because I don't really understand what anything is, but I figured that is what it is. I found this on Kindle Unlimited. I just wanted something I wasn't going to pay to read, and all the things I wanted to read that could have been a pun were either like a long wait at the library or I'd have had to just buy a book, and I didn't want to do that. So I read this because it sounded promising. It's like a summer camp setting. It's a sapphic romance. But it's a sapphic romance between a girl and a fawn. And there are spicy scenes in it. And it is not for me. That is not my jam. I didn't even know that was a thing, and also just felt like bestiality. It just felt like she was having sex with an animal when we were describing like body parts. It was just not for me. It's truly gave me the ick. It wasn't like really badly written. It was fine. But there was also a whole storyline around like, well, it's that whole thing where other like races are used as a metaphor for actual racism, and so the like all these like spooky creatures were kind of, it was about like racial segregation, kind of like, if you really thought about it for about 2 seconds, it was kind of just about it was set in Georgia, yeah, it was set in Georgia, and it was just about race, but they did it with creatures, and like fine, but also there was this whole bit at the end where like, okay, I am going to spoil it, but like I don't recommend you read this book, so sorry about my cat. I'm going to spoil it, so skip forward if you don't want to be spoiled on this book. But at the end, the girl human main character, it turns out she's like rich, and she like mobilizes her like privilege and wealth to be like a white savior to the like community of fawns, and buy them land, and like it just was a bit, I just can't believe I read this, actually. But that is the point of HRCYED, isn't it? Is to take you out of your comfort zone. And truly, this is not my comfort zone. Like, it was finely written. It's just not my genre. And it is not my genre, but it's also like so far away from even my comfort zone being somewhere else. Like I'm like beyond. I took it too far. Anyway, that happened. Then I read Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood. I was gonna read the summer book by Ali Smith. Is it Ali Smith? They're both Ali. But because I got it from the library, but I didn't even read the back cover. I was just like, this is going to be good because I've read several of her books. And then I read the synopsis, and it just wasn't the story I wanted to read this summer. And time was ticking, and Problematic Summer Romance, I think I ended up buying it on Kindle for $4.99, which I'm not hyped about. And also, it is problematic. The age gap is a lot. Yeah, and like I get it, but no, I didn't love it. I read it, like I enjoyed reading it. Like she's a good writer. It's the first thing I think I've read by her. So everyone raves about her, and they're like, oh, she's so romantic, blah blah. I think maybe if it wasn't an age gap, I probably would have been more into it. So maybe that was just like the wrong one to try and read. But on the cover, it's like a huge body of water because it's set in Italy, so I'm using that for the water on the avatar challenge. Then I actually reread Book Lovers by Emily Henry because I was like, I need more of the romance, but I need to like trust that I like it. And I hadn't really read it. I hadn't read it for a few years, and yeah, I still enjoyed it. Then I read the new release for September because it was getting towards the end of August, and the new release for September comes out in like a week or something, and it is called Canon by Lee Lei, and it is so good. It was a graphic novel about a Chinese American like queer person who works in like a kitchen, like as a chef, or like I think like, you know, a junior chef, and about them having like this long-term friend, and their friendship is kind of struggling a bit, and they are trying to have a romance, and that's like complicated, and there's stuff going on with their grandpa, and they have a estranged relationship with their mother, and like so much goes on in this graphic novel, and it's so simple but it's so complicated yet all at the same time. I thought it was really good. It was about kind of like getting to the end of your 20s and your 30s are coming, and you feel like your friends have all split off and become like different to you. I could relate to a lot of the things in this graphic novel, and it was an arc graphic novel from NetGalley. Absolutely pumped, absolutely loved it. 5 stars. Probably the best book I read this month, apart from the couple from my 24-hour reading challenge were also fantastic. Then I actually finished James Acaster's Classic Scrapes, which was one of my TBR game books. It was funny. I did laugh out loud. It wasn't like consistently funny the whole time, but there were points where it was like, oh my god, that's funny. He's just an interesting guy, isn't he? I'm gonna give it to my friend now because it was on my physical TBR as well, and I think my friend is gonna enjoy it. Then I read How Not to Fit In, and it was like an unapologetic guide to ADHD by Jess Joy and Charlotte Meyer. This was a library book, and the library has been screaming at me to return it. Like the minute I borrowed it, the library was like, you need to bring it back already. So clearly there's a massive hold list on it because all of those autistic ADHD people are coming out of the water and want to read it, because that is what is happening, isn't it, in general in life. And so basically it was fine. They're a bit younger than me, so maybe I think they're a bit younger than me, so and so maybe it's not super useful. I think I'm approaching 40, whereas like it felt like it was written for like a late 20s, early 30s audience maybe. I don't think that is like actually what they would say, but and like some parts of it were good, but it was also just a bit Instagram positive-y advice type, but it wasn't like all bullshit. Like it was good, but there are other books which I have seen which I think might be more useful for me, and I want to read them as well. I want to read all the books about autism and ADHD at the same time, which is what I'm having. Can you tell? Oh, and then I read Is Capitalism Working by Jacob Field. This was on my physical TBR, but it wasn't on my TBR game because turns out I'm a mood reader, and this month that's what happened. I actually have a TBR jar, and I actually picked it out of that, and I just felt like reading it. I was like, oh yeah, let's do it. And it's a non-fiction book. It's one of those books which there's a few of them. There's like a series of books, and they're all kind of about different issues and topics, and then they have like it's just a very accessible like thing with different sizes of fonts and lots of pictures, so you can consume it in a really in-depth way, or you could like speed read it and just focus on the bigger points. I would say that I probably could have read it more closely, but I did enjoy it. I just it wasn't what I was hoping it would be. I think it was going to be more about contemporary issues around catastrophe. I thought it was going to be about more like contemporary stuff, but a lot of it was about the history of capitalism, like industrialization, stuff like that, which I do know about because I kind of studied it at uni and it was interesting to read about, but I wanted it to be more about what is, is it working right now? Not has it worked or what is it and how has it happened? Like, I wanted to know more. So I probably will look for something else on this topic that is a bit more kind of a bit more opinionated, because this was extremely neutral and that was fine, but it meant it maybe didn't answer any questions. It was just kind of like, well, yes, capitalism is working because it has meant that people who are rich have gotten richer. It's like, well, yeah, okay. But also, yeah, and it did take into account like the positives and the negatives, but it's not like providing a solution or a way forward or predicting what could happen or anything. I don't know. It wasn't what I wanted, but I still enjoyed it. Yeah. And then today I read Gut Flora by Cherry Styles, which is a collection of things that were printed in the Chapes zine series or things that were submitted for the purpose of this anthology. And I got a piece of writing in there, and took me 9 years to realise it was actually good because I reread it today and I was like, oh, actually, that was actually quite good, Ingrid. What? And I'd never sat down and just read the thing cover to cover. I think that over time, I probably have read all of it, but they would just dip in and out of it. But I wanted it to be off my physical TBR because officially I have now read the whole thing. And 5 stars, everybody, 5 stars. Yeah. So this is like a real ramble through. And I'm just going to have a look at my spreadsheet. So yeah, I read like 21 books this month, maybe, I believe. And so that's even more books than July, which is wild, but I was on annual leave for some of it, but then there was parts where I was sick, like really sick, and just couldn't even hold a book. And then Tiny Bookshop came out and that happened, and that is continuing to happen, and that is all I care about right now. So given all of that, I think I did okay. Let's have a look at the bingo board. The bingo board is actually populated now. So I actually did make the lovely freshly read books thing, but I slightly changed the colours for myself. And you can see I did the 24-hour readathon, and you can kind of see that I'm getting there on some of the other challenges. So I think in particular, also Challenge Yourself, I think I need to update that number, and Non-Fiction Challenge, I might need to update that number too. But in particular, Disability Rep is going quite well. I could probably steam through on that by the hundreds. It's all the long books I haven't read, that's going to take time. Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm halfway through some more books as well. It has gotten dark while I've filmed this, and I have talked too much, and I don't know if any of it made any sense. But the overarching vibe is I've been reading a lot still, so that's great. I've done the 24-hour readathon, which is great because I was terrified about it. There are still other things I'm scared about, which I think I'm going to have to tackle head on at some point. But I have a lot of plans for the next month in terms of like reading because some books came through at the library. I kind of want to finish the TBR challenge. Okay, so these three I still need to read for the TBR challenge. I think I already got that far into this one. It's hard going, and I think if I really thought about it, I should have started with a different Discworld novel, but here we are. I'm gonna keep going. I think it just dives in a way that is difficult for someone who's never read anything by Terry Pratchett before. Well, that's a lie, because I think I had read The Carpet People. Okay. This one is the other one from the TBR challenge. I am doing okay. And there's loads of, like, what do you call it? There's a big index at the back. And actually, I think I really did need to read this. This was meant to be for, like, a self-care purpose, and I think this is actually going to achieve that. So that's really great. I just want to finish that in September. If I don't start and finish Big Swiss, I won't be pissed about it, but I do want to read it, so I will read it at some point. So this is the second part of that duology about the student-teacher relationship. Flannery is now a wife and a mother, but she's going to reunite with Anne, the senior person, and there's going to still be an age gap, but maybe it'll be slightly less messed up, but even so, not sure. But yeah, it was really well written, so yeah, we'll just see how it goes.